Hi, my name is Sam, and I first started playing World of Warcraft in August of this year. It is now December, and just a couple nights ago, me and my guild got ahead of the curve on Narrowbar Palace, and I just wanted to give some advice to new players to this game who are in the same position I was just 4 months ago, fresh-faced, and honestly a little intimidated by the size of this game and all of its systems. I'm very fortunate to have good real-life friends and guildmates who helped me get to where I am as a player today, and I just wanted to share some of the things that I've learned since I first started playing this game. I also think there might be a few veteran players out there who might just be interested in hearing the thoughts of a new player, so I'm going to try and keep this brief, but I'm only at the beginning, so we'll see how this goes. The first thing I want to say to a new player is don't be discouraged. I was primarily a Destiny player for many years, essentially since the launch of Destiny 1 in 2014. The only real MMO experience I had was Elder Scrolls Online, which has very different combat mechanics to WoW. Learning the fundamentals of this game is hard. WoW came out more than 20 years ago, and while it has changed a lot since then, if you haven't played WoW before or a game similar to it, there will be a learning curve. It took me a long time to really grasp what I was doing on my character and why I was doing it. Granted, I main Enhancement Shaman, which is, I'm told, one of the hardest melee specs in the game, but if you enjoy the game and want to learn, there are a lot of resources out there for you, and I'm going to go over some of those right now. If you like to watch YouTube like I do, a channel called Javier, which I assume is his name, is a fantastic YouTuber who is very oriented toward beginner players. Every guide he makes goes in with the intention that you have a surface level knowledge of your talents and abilities. His Enhancement Shaman guide, in particular, helped me out tremendously when I was getting my start and continues to help me to this day as I start to learn my other characters. A link to his channel can be found in the description of this video. Two other great resources are Icy Veins and Wowhead. You've probably heard of these before, but both of these sites are great and have very in-depth guides for every spec in the game, as well as other stuff like best in slot gear for your spec, ability rotations while you level, and guides to professions, which I think took me the longest to fully understand out of all the systems in this game. However, I recommend you consult both of these websites instead of sticking to just one. Much like news in real life, it's a good idea to get your information from multiple sources, so if you can't find up-to-date answers on one, check the other or go to YouTube. There are lots of really great WoW YouTubers out there. Now this one is pretty optional. If you want to really go deep into your gameplay, WoW Analyzer is another amazing resource, but you have to have logs of your gameplay. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. You'll figure it out later. But if you Google how to log in World of Warcraft, you can figure it out from there. It basically gives you advice on cooldown usage, which can be really good for optimizing your gameplay. And logs are basically a recording of all the combat interactions that take place in an encounter. So if you fight a boss, you'll know exactly when you used an ability, what damage you took when, how much damage it did to you, how your damage compares to other people who have also logged that encounter. It really is quite impressive if that's not something that you've ever interacted with before. It's quite impressive the amount of information that's in those. My second bit of advice is to download add-ons, which might seem kind of annoying at first. It is a little bit, but if you download Curse Forge, it is very easy. I will not spend too much time on this, but I wanted to give you some add-ons that I recommend and use every day whenever I play the game. The first one is an add-on called Plater, which lets you customize enemy health bars and makes interruptible abilities more visible. I'll get into interrupts later in the video. The next is Deadly Boss Mods, or DBM. DBM gives you useful callouts in dungeons and raids and does a lot of the thinking for you, so you don't have to make it harder on yourself. Just download DBM and it will think for you, essentially, during a fight. Next is an add-on called Weak Auras, which gives you a helpful UI that shows your most important ability cooldowns, as well as class resources and things like that. It is really quite a lot. Just looking at it, it will take some getting used to when it comes to moving things around, but I believe in you. There are lots of tutorials on YouTube that can walk you through the basics of this add-on. Luxthos, spelled Luxthos, has good profiles for every spec, so I would start there and customize them to your liking. Last, I'd like to shout out an add-on called Cursor Trail, which isn't essential but helped me so much. It's probably my favorite add-on in this game. It makes your cursor easier to see on the screen, And you can even toggle a setting that keeps your cursor on the screen when you are moving your camera. That's one thing that WoW does that really annoys me. Your cursor will disappear off the screen whenever you right-click to pan it around. You can change that, and I highly recommend this one, but again, it is not essential. My third tip is to just change your UI. This isn't anything crazy, just take the 5 to 10 minutes it takes to rearrange your UI in a way that you like. Enable the different ability bars that you have access to, because there are a lot of abilities in this game and you want to be able to see them and use them in a way that is recognizable to you so you can know where they are at all times. Yeah, this one's pretty straightforward, just change your UI. My next tip is another settings related tip, and that is enable Mouseover cast in your settings. Enabling this setting will save not just your own life, but definitely the lives of your group mates. If you have an off-healing ability like Shaman does or Paladin, this will let you easily cast interrupts on enemies or heal teammates without having to change your actual target focus. And this kind of segues into my next tip. My next tip is to use your interrupt. Every class, as far as I know, has an interrupt, and if you're running one, you need to be using it. It's no use to anyone if you don't use it, and it is an extremely important part of the game in group content. It will save runs. Good interrupt usage is one of the things that make a WoW player good at the game. Make sure it's on an easily accessible key. I have mine on R, but you can put yours wherever works best for you. This is a short section, but I would say it's one of the most important as far as actual gameplay tips goes, so use your interrupts. It will prevent damage going out onto your party or harmful effects, which makes the run easier on everyone, especially your healer. Your healer will thank you as long as you're using your interrupt, so use it. All right, so now that we're done looking at mechanics and settings, I want to let you know that if you want to start getting into Mythic Plus or into Heroic Raiding even, you should join a guild. There is an in-game guild finder, and there are a ton of people who want to play this game. There is a group of gamers out there for you. You specifically, you can find people out there that you enjoy playing with. It might not be the first guild you join, it might not be the second or even the fifth, but if you keep looking, you will make some gaming friendships that will last and quite frankly will remember for the rest of your gaming days. I found my Destiny 2 guild through a random pug group, and I've been friends with those guys for more than 3 years now. Playing with people you enjoy being with will exponentially increase your enjoyment of the game. Again, I really want to emphasize that you should play with people you want to play with. If you aren't driving with your first guild, just leave and try a new one. It might sound rude, but at the end of the day, they're still just strangers on the internet. You owe them absolutely nothing. Find a group you like and just enjoy hanging out with. I think this is one of the most important pieces of advice in this entire video. So my last tip is an easy one, and that's just have fun with the game. It isn't a job, it's something you do in your free time, so just make sure you have fun with the time that you have. Play the campaigns, go back and play some old content. Hell, try PvP, which is its own progression and has entirely different gear and builds you will need to grind for and experiment with. You paid for it, so you might as well go and play it if you find yourself looking for something to do on a Monday night. In general, just don't take the game too seriously. It is just a game after all. Play other classes and specs when you feel comfortable with your main or are looking for a change of scenery. I was lucky enough to pick the spec that I enjoy right off the bat, but you might not. Try other things, just see how you like them. I've been playing Holy Paladin for the last month or so, and I'm really enjoying that class, and I enjoy learning what it takes to be a good healer. Again, it's just a game, so have fun. So those are my 7 tips, I guess, for new players in World of Warcraft. If this video helped you, I would appreciate a like, but other than that, thank you for watching.